Do you guys remember that soldier that blew the whistle over at Fort Hood of some more crazy stuff happening, known as Sergeant Scott? Well, that story gets a little bit deeper, as I've been told. I should take down my other video. You should probably watch it because it does preface everything else, but I will say here's a TLDR because it is just what it is, and this rabbit hole goes deep. Sergeant Scott is sitting here making accusations against the Fort Hood leadership, saying that she's not being heard for her issues, along with many other things, which are just hinted at, which the main one being SA, as many of you guys know, is like a trend it seems to be in the videos in the past year or so. Now, she did demand to actually see higher level leadership, where she posts videos or audio clips of her essentially being told, hey, you're going to have a meeting with the person below them before you can even move forward, and kind of getting this closed door approach, as it's like, what do you really want to talk about, because she is so vague. In those clips, she does talk about that these matters were a matter of life and death. It even talks about some of the leadership or other people in the command, such as the military police that were out there, were ordered to follow her and harass her, which she was scared for her life, is what she was saying. Some of this stuff included her relating her experiences to similar situations, such as Vanessa Guillen. On top of that, she also says that she saw someone's body essentially dead somewhere on Fort Hood, and says that this is not a safe space for anybody. On top of that, she says that the Army was so eager to shut her up in this situation that she was being forced out of the military within 10 days. On top of that, it also looks like she was told that she would be forced to go into a facility for evaluation, even though she really didn't want it. That is where that last video kind of died off, as there's a lot to cover here, but it does look like there is a U.S. Air Force veteran that does advocate for people and rushed by to her side of Sergeant Scott and tried to be that advocate, tried to be the friend that was out there. But Sergeant Scott wasn't going to have that.
But I drove to Fort Hood to check on Jules Scott. I did not post that because some of the things I did not publicly want to display. I was trying to help her in the background, because that's what advocates do. We don't have to put her business out in the forefront. So I sat there, I drove to Fort Hood, 2 hours away from where I'm at. I saw her receipts. Some of it seemed a little sketchy. I'm not going to lie to you. I'm not going to BS you. Some of it seemed a little sketchy. So I was trying to help her understand how to share her story and make sure all the eggs were aligned. Like everything was aligned, everything was good. But I kept on seeing holes in the story, but I kept on fighting. So that's my job as an advocate. I keep on fighting. However, I have to make sure the truth is being told. And so all the posts I'm seeing do not match up with the evidence. I had to make sure that I asked questions. And instead of saying, okay, let me help you, or let me help you understand, I was getting attacked. She was so defensive towards me. We just cut contact because somebody posted about her being in Colombia with the GoFundMe. Okay, now I know stuff behind the scenes that I didn't want to tell, but let me be honest. Let's go ahead and throw it out there. Yes, baby, you're in Colombia, you're using your GoFundMe for that. It's not about no lawyer, it's not about anything, because first off, you told me, and I have proof of this, you told me that you don't want to fight anymore, that you want to go out in Colombia, you want to have fun, all the other things. But I want honesty, and I have to make sure your story aligns with the truth, and your evidence has to align with what I saw. Is on a post, she's going back and forth with the sergeant's wife. You have to read the message where the lady said, oh, you're okay with calling me a Jewel has been calling her ass. That was not on the story, on the evidence. So you guys have to look and open. Like, some of this stuff is inconsistent. It's all good. I'm not gonna sit here and I'm not going to act like I'm the best person in the world. I'm not gonna do it, because I should have said something as soon as I saw the issues. I should have said something and stopped right away. So we sat down, we talked, she showed me the evidence. She does have statements, and she does have a lot of videos where, leadership was corrupt, that they were doing, things to her. However, it was still a little iffy because she was only showing me parts of the audio and not the full thing. We talked a little bit. A lady from NBC contacted her. All these people DM'd her, and I told her, like, hey, go ahead and talk to them and let's find out, let's tell them what's going on. But I need your full story and make sure we present it properly before anything. She ended up getting mad when I asked her in detail what was going on. She got a little irritated. She started to cry. So me as a survivor, I was like, okay, let me, get off of her. Let me be empathetic. Let me be understanding. So it was her victim advocate that she had. They said, tomorrow I need to report in. So we drove down to Fort Hood on June 2nd. When we got there, we went through the gates, and I drove my car. She put her car on the side of the Fort Hood gates. I drove my car to get her on base safely. So as we go on base, we're late. And I'm telling her, Jewel, we have to, like, you know, I'm telling her, we got to go because you still, regardless of how you feel, you still have to make sure that you are listening to your, you know, superiors. I said, how do you feel with, you know, sexual assaults? Like, what's going on? She explained that she was iffy about explaining her sexual assault. Now, I understand when you're sexually assaulted, people don't want to talk about it. 100% get it. But her comment was that I don't want to talk to any sexual assault victims who aren't ready to stand up, and I don't understand this. Like, she had no empathy towards victims. So to me, I kind of question, not saying I don't question anybody's story on sexual assault, but I kind of question her intentions because you're angry about women who don't want to express if they were sexually assaulted because they're not ready. And you were kind of bashing them for not saying anything. Sergeant Marquise, who has a well-known story, she didn't want her advocating with her because she wanted her story to be heard over Sergeant Marquise. We have text messages, we have everything with all this in it. So again, as I'm asking her things, I asked her, who wants to kill you? Who's after you? She couldn't give me no answer. She was just like, I'm just going off of what happened with Vanessa, all this other stuff. Now understand, Jill got there June 2022 or 21. Vanessa's murder happened before she got there. So you're going to your command and saying all these things that you witnessed and that you're going out telling on your command about things that didn't have nothing to do with you. I understand everybody wants to be an advocate, but her story was always talking about other people's issues, never talking about her issues. So that was a lot of issues that a lot of like ABC and those news people, they were having a hard time understanding her because she never talked about what truly happened to her, except for on social media. But when you asked her, it was kind of shake. Just talking about death at a motor pool or death in her dorms. That did not happen. She was away from that. It's the incident that happened. She showed me a picture of the vehicle of the guy who supposedly died that was not too far from her. And there was no crime tape. There was nothing. It was just a random car sitting there. So I was like scratching my head. I've been a military police before. I understand how it works. If there's a crime scene, there will be crime tape. There was no crime tape on the picture. There was nothing. I asked her first time, hey, did you see the body? She said, oh my God, it hurt because I saw him. And then the second time she said, oh no, I didn't see the body. I have text messages. So she didn't see the body. All right. She talks about SFL taps on there. She has a picture talking about, they asked her several times to go to SFL taps. Now I know one incident where she has an audio, which was March 31st. They told her to drop taps. But I don't know the full story. I just know that they said something about dropping taps. I know those times when I read her text message that she had from her command, they did tell her to go to taps. And she kept on saying, I don't feel like I want to go. That's the truth. Jewel did not want to go, and they asked her to go. I've seen it. I've seen the messages where they asked her to go, and she denied to go. So when you think about when you're given a direct order, you're military, you're given a direct order to do something, and you decide not to, what's going to happen? They're going to look for you. They're going to follow you. They're going to see what's going on because number one, you're not checking in. And number two, you're screaming mental health and you're not showing up to those mental health appointments. That's why people are watching her. Now, she has a video of a car following her. As a cop, understand if you make a post saying that you're going to hurt yourself or possibly somebody else is going to hurt you, certainly if you say you're going to hurt yourself, you're on suicide watch. That is suicide watch. They're going to watch you. And when I told her about this, she said, they don't do that anymore. Girl, I served 20 some years to your 5. They will do suicide watch. If you tell anybody, it was not harassment. It was suicide watch. So everybody's saying they're harassing her. No, they're not. They have been trying to track this girl down. She hasn't been going. And every time you hear her messages, she's getting an attitude and gets snappy with them. Y'all have not even heard half the time that she's been disrespectful. So then she writes about she was supposed to get out the military in 10 days. And that was May 19th, I think she said that. She was supposed to get out military 10 days. She did the GoFundMe May 20th. Now understand, nobody told her 10 days. I never saw that message saying 10 days. Never, ever, ever. You don't show up June 2nd to TAPS. That was like the last point. Like that was the last straw for them when she just did not show up again. The GoFundMe is a whole bunch of crap because I asked her, and I have a text message too. I said, are you going to seek an attorney? We were trying to find her attorney. She said, no, I'm done with this crap. I don't want to do this. I don't want to fight anymore. But at first she was like, oh, I'm going home. I'm going to go in because we were hyping her up because as advocates were like, girl, you got this. And then when I saw the evidence, she was like, I don't know. She didn't go for it. She said she wanted to go to Colombia. I said, why are you going to Colombia? She has friends out there. Jules speaks very good Spanish. I've been around her. There's also another page she has where she goes to Colombia. She's hanging out with people too. So that tells you she has some friends in Colombia, and I can send that to whoever wants to see it. I got that receipt as well. She has friends in Colombia. She hangs out with people in Colombia. Speaks very good English, okay? So she says she's going to Colombia. I asked her about her pay. Jewel pulled out a wad of money when we got our nails done. Jewel put out a lot of money, and she was telling me she broke. She hasn't been paid for 2 months. Jewel has some money. Found out about the GoFundMe, all the other stuff. She's talking about she's not going to get a lawyer, but on your GoFundMe it said something about legal fees. You need to pay for legal fees. So what legal fees do you have in Colombia? Because there's no attorneys in Colombia that's going to help you out here with Fort Hood.
This woman does seem very credible. I would say normally I don't want to just share rumors, but I don't see any motive that she would have to not, try and be there for the sergeant. Also, because Sergeant Scott seems to have changed the GoFundMe, which originally did say for legal fees, where people want this kind of blind following without many questions. But reality is people are going to question. Now, is this a traumatic situation? Probably for somebody, yes. But it unfortunately is going to hurt people that are actually victims of situations like this, and essentially is now going to make them just want to crawl further into their holes, with even people that are their allies out here saying this is BS. It does look like Sergeant Scott has blocked or deleted or whatever her Instagram, unless she changed her name. I cannot find it, and that would be very interesting in the fact that she did have thousands upon thousands of followers, that I doubt she would delete that for no apparent reason other than to avoid the truth from what it seems like as far as the appearance of what's going on here. And so this video is to kind of show both sides, because I think it's important, because obviously I'm an advocate of somebody that would like to help people, but also I do not want to advocate for somebody that may be in the wrong as well. And obviously Sergeant Scott is not trying to correct anything from what this woman is saying either, rather than just running away from it, and quite literally running away down to Colombia. We'll continue to avoid posting people's GoFundMes, because I just do not agree with all the shady stuff that can happen with them, as people could be faking a lot of stuff or not be the truth, and I don't want my audience to think that's what we're about here. But if you guys like this video or updates or whatever else, you want to see something else that maybe I haven't talked about, or maybe a future video you think would be fitting for the channel, please like, comment, subscribe. Also hit me up on Instagram, Snapchat, Twitter, TikTok, or down in the comments below. I love you guys. I'll see you next time.